So this guy called you?
He called me out of the blue.
What's his first name? We don't want his last name.
His name was Sash.
Sash.
And he was kind of a musician. It's typical Austinite, keep Austin weird. He had dreadlocks that were 37 years old from all the way down to his ankles. And he lived in the house for a while. He was also an investor. He had 4 other properties, and he just fallen hard times. His arms had adjusted, so the payments were more than he could afford. He was actually living in this one, trying to rehab it.
You mean his arm loans had adjusted?
Yeah.
Not his arms.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
His loans had adjusted to the point where they were unaffordable. So he had actually the property listed with a realtor, and he also had a for rent sign in the front yard.
Now, when you said he was in pre-foreclosure, does that mean he was behind his payments, obviously?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How far behind was it?
I would say 3 to 4 months.
Okay. So here's a guy who's behind his payments.
Mm-hmm.
And what was this house worth fixed up? What was it worth as is?
As is, he was selling it for $320, which is probably about what it was worth as is, because it needed a lot of work. After repair value, he put in 50, 75K, add some square footage to it, it would have been worth, on our estimates, around 600 to 650. We went 600 to be low, on the low end. So,
Okay.
that would have been complete rehab on the inside, new walls, new paint, knocking some windows out, changing a wall around, and then turning a carport into a master bathroom.
So one of the things that you guys need to remember here as you're watching this video is Scott's not a professional rehabber. Scott's, you would have had a crew do this had you kept the property, but your whole concept was you found a really good deal and you were going to give this deal to somebody else, almost wholesaling, if you will. So you were going to turn it over to another investor, let them make the lion's share of the profit.
That's correct.
And you were just going to keep some profit for putting the deal together.
That's correct.
Okay, so I call this wholesaling, and if you hear us refer to wholesaling deals, that's what we're doing. We're taking a great deal, turning it over to another investor, letting them come to the table, and actually have them do all the work, and we make a little bit for flipping over the contract.
That's correct.
Okay, so you found the deal, the guy calls you up, and tell me a little bit about the conversation, what did he say?
Well, he called me and he said, you got one of my postcards, and I asked, okay, which one? The one with my picture on it, is that why you're calling? He said, yeah. We visited for about 30 minutes on the phone. I set up an appointment to meet with him. We came by the house, visited with him for a while. He told us why he was behind, he was getting ready to go to foreclosure in a couple of weeks. He wanted out of the property. He'd like to make a little bit of money because he knew there was equity there, but it was unrealized because he ran out of money for the rehab. So we set up a follow-up appointment for him to come by my office. We kind of structured the deal where I would take over payments on his existing mortgage, bring up the back payments, and give him some money to walk, give him 10 grand to walk.
Okay, so you're going to take over the mortgage on his existing, or payments on his existing mortgage.
Correct.
And we call that in the business taking over the payments subject to. So the payments are subject to the existing mortgage. You're not really assuming the mortgage.
No.
It's still in his name.
Correct.
But you're helping him out by bringing him current.
Correct.
And just paying the mortgage as you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So he came by the office and we had to first call the lender, and he had a hard time getting a hold of the lender, and his real estate agent didn't have any luck at it. Fortunately for me, within him being in the office in 30 minutes, I had a hold of the loss mitigator that was handling the file.
So the loss mitigator at the lender's office,
Correct.
they're the ones that actually work with people who are in foreclosure and try to bring them current.
That's correct.
Okay.
Told him what we were trying to do. The house was listed. We were trying to take over the payments, wanted to find out what he was behind on. Within 30 minutes, we had a payoff statement, so we kind of knew what we had to bring up. I want to say it was like 12 grand with back taxes and everything. So we set up basically, signed a contract right then and there. We structured it, taking over the payments, giving him some money to walk, and basically went from there. He was excited.
Okay, so going back to our initial things, you found the property by marketing with the postcards.
Right.
Then the next thing, into free foreclosure list.
Right.
The next thing you did is you negotiated with the homeowner himself.
Right.
The homeowner was behind. You told him you would take over his payments. Now, at this point, you didn't have the money to make up his back payments,
No,
right?
not at all.
But you used this as a negotiation technique.
Right.
And you agreed to take the property over subject to the existing loan. How big was the existing loan?
295 actually.
Okay, so you're basically, for all intents and purposes, assuming, even though it's not, you're agreeing to pay off on that $295,000 loan.
Mhm.